Good morning. I hope everyone here and at home enjoyed that extra hour of sleep you got this morning. I did. My name's Eddie Chen. I'm president of the congregation here at Tennessee Valley Unitarian Universalist Church, and it's my honor to welcome you on behalf of the board and the program council. You're welcome here. Huh? Higher? It's my honor to welcome you on behalf of the board and the program council. You're welcome here, whoever you are, wherever you're from, and wherever you're on your journey. For some of you here that like to learn a little bit more about our church, TVUUC, you can fill out the visitor information card that's located in the backseat pocket or the pew in front of you and place it in the collection plate when it goes by, and someone will be in touch with you. And we haven't forgot about you people at home. You can go to our website and on the menu, select Stay in Touch and fill out the virtual visitor card, and someone will be in touch with you too. As we move forward together, please remember that we are each other's keeper. If you or your family are interested in programs for children, youth, and parents, please visit our religious exploration table located in the lobby. I believe Miriam's out there today, and she could answer any questions that you may have. You could also go to our website and look for up-to-date information on all our programs and all our other resources for families. Guess we have announcements, Carol?
Good morning. I have the pleasure to invite every single one of you to our first Sunday potluck, which is after the service today, and it is being sponsored by the Reproductive Justice Task Force and the 8th Principal Task Forces. So, and the theme this month is a gratitude potluck. So we're going to share stories of foods and memories and the gratitudes they have brought. And we're going to also have an opportunity to create gratitude cards with sharing of those memories. If you want to share meditations, illustrations, or recipes, you are welcome. All are welcome here. Guests, all members, new and seasoned, as well as those who brought dishes and those who brought no dish at all. All of you are welcome to the potluck after the service today.
Thanks, Carol. Barbara Taylor, come on. Your turn.
Two quick messages today. The first is about the auction. The excitement is growing for the Get-Togethers auction. So you have exactly 1 week and 1 day. In other words, the end of next Sunday, the 12th, we will close donations for the auction. So please put on your thinking caps. What would you like to present? Would you like to teach someone how to do something? Would you like to feed them hot dogs and hamburgers? Would you like to take them out to brunch? Whatever. Just do it this week, please. And if you need any help with it, there will be a small table outside in the gallery. It is now functioning as the children's RE program table, but afterwards it'll morph into that. Okay, the other one is about Justice Knox. And the first thing I want to do is to read you something that I received from another member from a different congregation who also works with homelessness. This is not hers, but she shared it. It's by a man named Ryan. I find comfort in looking at American history through the lens of my family. When my great-great-grandparents were born, it was legal to own another human being. When my grandparents were born, women could not vote. When my parents were born, it was legal to racially segregate schools. When I was born, individuals with disabilities had almost no rights. When my daughter was born, in some places it was a crime to be gay. What will the world look like when my great-grandchildren are born? The greatest threat to a better world is cynicism. Cynicism is clever because it calls itself wisdom. It is comfortable because it tells us that the world is just so bad there's no point in trying to change it. It is dangerous because it robs us from action on behalf of others. If we want to heal the world, we must let go of our comfortable cynicism. We must accept that we can make a difference. Then we must let the discomfort of that fact drive us to act. I genuinely believe that the most dangerous aspect of our current historical moment is the unrelenting wave of cynicism washing over our culture. It might sound corny, but we can choose hope. Peace to all. Ryan. This is sort of a manifesto of Justice Knox, where we come together as more than 22 congregations in our area to talk about what bothers us and then decide what things we're going to take on each year. So I want to let you know that if you're interested in becoming a network member, we're going to have a tiny little table across from the other table in the gallery. And I want to let you know that our first meeting is called the Annual Assembly, and it's Monday, November 13th. That's a week from next Sunday, or Monday, at 7 to 8:30 at Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church, and I'm inviting all my network members to meet at the church so we can carpool. If you have any questions about this, or you want to carpool, come and talk to us afterwards. Thank you, and please enjoy this wonderful service.
Thank you, Barbara Taylor. Barbara Lamb, you here? Come on.
Very short for a very big event on Wednesday, 40 plus, maybe as many as 100 young men from UT's Phi Gamma Delta fraternity are going to be on our grounds helping us spruce up everything. Yes! I told them that we would feed them to thank them. So the board of directors, our wonderful board, are purchasing hot dogs. Greg's group is going to do some grilling, and I'm counting on the congregation to bring cookies. If you can't bring cookies, there's a little pitcher out there on the table. You can drop a few bucks in, and I'll go buy some cookies for you. I need 2 more things. I need to borrow yard tools because we do not have enough for that many guys. And I need wheelbarrows. So if you can do either of those 2 things, there's a table and you can leave me a note, and I'll even come and pick up your tools and your wheelbarrow. Thank you, and I hope this is going to be a fabulous event. Gee.
Thank you, Barbara. Please remember to join us after the service for our first Sunday potluck. We got some great food and desserts out there, and everyone's invited. Now, please silence your electronic devices as we enter into worship. Thank you.
This lieder by Richard Strauss is titled Aller Seelen, which means all souls. And lieder is a German word that just means song, but when we say it in this context, it usually means a song that was made from a piece of poetry. And this piece of poetry has verses, and as the verses repeat, the music changes, and it changes to reflect the experience of the singer, to tell the story of how their feelings are changing. The singer or the poet is thinking of a loved one they have lost, and they're calling out to them and saying, "Come, let's do these things that we used to do back in May." And each stanza ends with that phrase, "Wie einst im Mai," as once in May. So they're calling out, "Come, let's set the table with these flowers. Come, I want to hold your hand." And this phrase, "Wie einst im Mai," combined with the idea of Aller Seelen, would be especially impactful for Germans and Austrians of this era, because they would remember going to the cemeteries on Allerseelen, on All Saints, and having picnics and spending time with their lost loved ones, and that so many people would be filling the cemeteries with picnics and flowers that it would look like a summer's day. So, Wie einst im Mai.
Our opening words come from the Hebrew Gates of Prayer. The light of life is a finite flame. Like a candle, life is kindled, it glows, but soon it fades. Its substance is consumed, and it is no more. In light we see, and in light we are seen. The flame dances, and our lives are full. But as night follows the day, the candle of our life burns down and sputters. There is an end to the flame. We see no more and are no more seen. Yet we should not despair, for we are more than a memory slowly fading into darkness. With our lives we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycles of darkness and death, and light and life. Come, let us worship together. The spirit of this church, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our great covenant. I invite you to join together in our opening hymn, 103 in the gray hymnal, For All the Saints. If you haven't had an opportunity already during this hymn, you can bring forward a picture of a loved one of blessed memory to place on our altar.
It is good to be gathered here today. So many of us, in all the ways that we gather here in this sanctuary, and those who are watching from home or from another space in our building. I'm glad to be together on this day when we are remembering those that we love who may not be present in person any longer. And before I share something, a bit of a conversation with you, I have a question. Does anybody here like balloons? I really like balloons, and I have one here today. And I especially like helium balloons and the way they float. Has anybody ever had a helium balloon that floated? Yeah. And balloons are often in places where people are feeling really happy, right? What are some places where you might see a balloon? Yeah. At a party? A birthday party? Yeah. Where might you see a balloon? A carnival, yeah. Valentine's Day, a parade, lots of places where we see balloons and enjoy them. But every now and then, I will say to you that a balloon has made me kind of sad. Why might a balloon make somebody sad? Yeah. Yeah, maybe if it pops. Yeah. Maybe it deflates. Yeah, if it pops or it deflates. Or has anybody ever had a helium balloon and accidentally let go of the string and it floated away? I've had that happen, and when I look and watch it float away, I know I'm not going to be able to get it again, right? It's gone. And that makes me feel kind of sad. And sometimes people can be a little bit like balloons. And today, many of us are here and are remembering people or pets, those who have been important in our lives who may not be present with us anymore. It might be somebody who has moved very far away and we don't see. Or it might be somebody who has died. And we have some wonderful photos and things of mementos of people who are here today. And when somebody dies or is not in our life anymore, it's a little bit like that balloon floating away, isn't it? But, you know, we also have something that's a little bit like the string on this balloon. And every one of us has, inside of ourselves, you can't see it, but has a string that keeps that balloon from flying all the way away where we can't ever see it again. And that is our memory. How many of us are remembering somebody that we miss? Some of us might be remembering somebody. And when we remember those people or those pets, it's like we pull that string and the balloon gets a little closer. So some of us brought pictures today. Today I'm wearing earrings that belonged to my grandmother, and when I wear them, she feels a little closer. And when I think about my grandfather who used to make apple jelly. Does anybody really like jelly to eat jelly? When I was a kid, the only kind I would eat was my grandfather's apple jelly, and it was the most delicious. And when I think about him, and I think about that jelly and how good it is, I can kind of taste it, and he feels a little closer again. And so I want to invite us to think about those people or those pets that we are missing. I think, too, about my cat, Jasper. Has anybody ever here had a cat? We used to talk about him. We would say he was all love and no brain. He was not a terribly smart cat, but he sure did love us, and I like remembering him, too. And so today, we have something to share, and I want to invite everybody who would like to. I could use a few helpers. We have some ribbons that we're going to bring out, and we invite everybody to take one of the ribbons, and we've got a number of baskets. Who would like to be a helper? Come on up. Let's help make sure these get around to everybody, and they shouldn't get tangled because they're pretty short. I'd like to invite everybody to have a ribbon. Yeah. More people can come. You could actually just get a little handful. If we have more people who want to help, then we have baskets. And help everybody get a ribbon. And I'm going to invite you to find somebody near you when a ribbon gets to you. You can bring them around, yeah. and invite somebody sitting near you to tie that ribbon around your wrist. And it can be a reminder today of the ways in which these people we're missing, that we can't hold in our arms, these people and pets that we can't hold in our arms anymore, they are still connected with us. And so we remember them today. And as we are having these ribbons come out, I invite us, everybody who would like to, speak aloud the name of somebody you are inviting to be present with us in spirit today. Jasper, you can just say them out loud. And to help our helpers know, if you have not had a ribbon come your way, if you would raise your hand so we know. Bet there are some whole areas where people need some ribbons, and I'm going to come help in a moment too. All right, so we've got some folks with their hands up over there. Hazel, you want to go that way and bring some ribbons to people? All right, and Nathaniel, we've got some people right back here who need some ribbons. In our reflection room space last week, some of our young people made candle holders to help be candles of memory for those we're remembering. So we have one of those on our altar today, and I'm trying to make this not so tall that those speaking can't be seen. So I'm going to move it a little lower. I'm going to put it right over here. So thank you all. And we've still got some folks who need a ribbon. All right, Evan, we've got some folks over there. Oh, you're out of ribbons. All right, where are our ribbons? We've got some right back here. There, Evan, would you like to go and collect some? I bet Nathaniel and Hazel have some extras and can help take some over. When I remember these folks that I'm missing, remembering feels a little bit sad, but it also feels good. And I like to remember them on this day and on all of the days. So thank you for being part of this morning. Oh, they are right over there. There you go. They're taking some ribbons out. And now I think we are just about ready to sing those who are heading to our religious exploration spaces today out with our recessional. And if you still need a ribbon, we will have the baskets, any extras we have, we'll have as you head out of the sanctuary today. On the table on the left as you go out of the sanctuary down the hall, we'll have some extras, and you're welcome to take more or take one if you didn't manage to get one this morning. Thank you, and now we will sing our learners and leaders out. Thank you.
Pleasure to offer us our first joy of joys and concerns, and that's to recognize Carol Villavardi as our new volunteer of the month. Carol, are you here? Come forward, Carol. Carol has done about every volunteer job you can do with religious education, has been an RE greeter, an RE helper, an outdoor program leader, a youth events, part of the youth events team. She supported the Children's Diversity and Justice Library. She sings in our choir. and she is a leader in our reproductive justice team, supporting the mission of Planned Parenthood and other organizations in an increasingly hostile environment, which is to say she has a big heart and lots of courage. So let's thank her for her good work.
Well, gosh, I don't have to say much. Chris already said a lot. So the biggest thing is I think my response to the Let's Connect team when they let me know was just, wow, this is just super awesome. So I'm just really grateful for the relationships and the opportunities to show and share love here at TVUUC and in the community. So thank you all. Please come and see me at the potluck. I'm headed there to volunteer more time, and I'd love to see you there.
Good morning. I am Reverend John Coffey, a member of the spiritual care team, and we've already gotten started with joys and concerns this morning, but on Sunday mornings we take a time out of our service to share the joys and concerns of those in our community in an acknowledgement of our shared lives together. If you have a joy or concern that you would like to share or would just like to talk with a member of the spiritual care team, please feel free to reach out via the pastoral care line. The phone number is in your order of service, it's in the newsletter, and it's on our website. The pastoral care line is staffed every day by members of the spiritual care team. And if you'd like to connect, you can call that number, and we will love to hear from you. This is kind of awkward because the first joy I have to share is a personal joy. I was not expecting this letter until December, so I wasn't planning to be the one to announce this joy. But earlier this week, I got a letter from the Unitarian Universalist Ministers Association, and I want to read this letter to you. Dear John, the Ministerial Fellowship Committee, MFC, convened during a special November 1st conference call to vote on renewal applications submitted by July 1st, 2023 deadline. After reviewing your submission, the MFC voted to grant you full fellowship. As I look around the sanctuary this morning and I'm thinking of folks who have been a part of my journey who are no longer with us, this has been 10 years in the making. And I am so grateful to all of you for all of your love and support, both professionally and personally through the years. So I just want to say again, thank you all for being a part of that journey as well. Whew. So, thank you. Now, to the other joys and concerns we have in our congregation. We want to lift up Dick Helsel, who had hip replacement surgery week before last and has been recuperating and doing physical therapy and is getting back on track and back to normal. So we are celebrating with Dick. We also like to report that Reed Franks is at home recovering from a mid-October operation to insert 2 stents in his left main coronary artery where there was a 90% blockage. In addition, Reed has been diagnosed with atrial fibrillation and is waiting to be scheduled for an ablation procedure at UT Hospital. We also lift up Carolyn Franks, whose new hip surgery is scheduled for November 22nd, and she reports that she is quite ready for it. So with these joys and concerns mentioned here, and those joys and concerns in our hearts but left unspoken, please join me in our congregational response. The words are printed in your order of service. invite you to turn in your great hymnal to 718, not 728, 718 for a responsive reading. I will read the regular text, and the response will be in italics. Again, this is 718. Did someone say that there would be an end? An end. Oh, an end. Love and mornings. What has been once so interwoven cannot be raveled, nor the gift ungiven. Now the dead move the walls, still below. Mother and child, lover and lover mated, are wound and bound together and inflowing. What has been plaited cannot be unplaited. Only the strands grow richer with each loss. And memory makes kings and queens of us. Dark into light, light into darkness, sin. When all the birds have flown to some real haven. We who find shelter in the warmth within, listen and feel new cherished, new forgiven, as the lost human voices speak through us and blend our complex love, our mourning without end. Amen.
These words invite us into a time of prayer and meditation. Let us be at peace with our bodies and our minds. Let us return to ourselves and become holy ourselves. Let us be aware of the source of being common to us all and to all living things. Evoking the presence of the great compassion, let us fill our hearts with our own compassion toward ourselves and toward all living beings. Let us pray that we ourselves cease to be the cause of suffering to each other. With humility, with awareness of the existence of life and of the sufferings that are going on around us, let us practice the establishment of peace in our own hearts on this earth. Let us pause for a moment of silent worship together. Amen.
Good morning. My name is Claudia Presley. I'm the Director of Operations and Finance here at TVUC. Thanks for joining us today for All Saints Sunday. This is a time when we remember the past and look to the future and anticipate it. In anticipation of the future, one thing that you can do is to look at our church website, tvuuc.org. Right underneath the small scrolling video is a link to nominate organizations for the 2024 Share the Plate program. For those of you that don't know, Share the Plate is a way for us to look at community organizations and to give tangible financial support. Today, our Share the Plate organization is called SEED with an extra E, S-E-E-E-D. That means Socially Equal Energy Efficient Development. What that organization does is they combine career readiness skills with hands-on experience and community engagement for young adults 18 through 24 who have aged out of youth programs. So your dollars today in the offering basket, giving online, or text giving, giving through our giving kiosk in the lobby, any way that you give, those dollars will go to help the SEED program. So I encourage you to give generously. If you would like to text give, the number is 73256. Type in TVUUC and the amount that you would like to give. And then when you get home or after the service, because you don't want to do it during the service, Chris would be really upset with you, but go to the website and nominate an organization for our 2024 Share the Plate program. Thank you.
Matt Meyer brought together a group of texts that were all used along with this melody called Sanctuary. And today, Terry Clear is going to explain where each of these different texts came from, the traditions and meaning, and also honor the individuals who contributed to the various versions.
This tune by John Thompson and Randy Scruggs was inspired by the sounds of the Shaker tradition. It starts with a nigun, which is a wordless melody hummed while preparing to bless bread and wine after a Shabbat service. This Aramaic verse is a blessing for breaking bread that comes from the Talmud, the English translation by Rabbi Shefa Gold.
Brich rachamana, makara alma, mare, dehabiata. You are the source of life for all that is, and your blessing flows through me.
The Hebrew text and translation are used for Parashat Terumah, the 19th week in a cycle of Torah readings. Terumah means offering, and in the reading refers to donations made by the Israelites to Biblishan. This is as sung by Cantor Julia Cadrain.
Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
These lyrics by Matt Meyer, inspired by Walter Royal Jones Jr.'s reading, number 458, from Singing the Living Tradition, as sung by Eleuthera Diakonka Lippert from the Unitarian Church of Montreal.
There's a truth beyond our knowledge
These final lyrics by Dave Ruffin, founder of Sanctuary Boston.
Make us aware we are a sanctuary, each made holy, loved right through. With thanksgiving, we are a living sanctuary anew.
Beautiful, beautiful. One of the reasons we come to a Unitarian Universalist church is to learn interesting facts. So here is one. Emily Dickinson wrote many of her poems in this meter. There would be 8 syllables, followed by 6 syllables, then 8, 6, 8, 6. Oddly enough, this means that the meter of her poetry allows most of her poems to be sung to the tune of the theme song for Gilligan's Island. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality. The problem with interesting facts is once you know them, you can't unknow them, no matter how much you want to. Even so, this line from Emily Dickinson's poetry seems appropriate as we observe All Souls and All Saints, the Day of the Dead, Samhain, so many holidays this time of year where we remember those who are no longer with us. It's a time to contemplate our own mortality. These kinds of observances are important because we are often too busy for death. Too busy to think about it, too busy to plan for it, too busy to let the reality of it sink in. And I think this busyness is one of the reasons that we human beings fight wars. We are so busy thinking about military strategy or national interests or vengeance or retribution or winning or losing or us versus them. We are so busy contemplating anything but death. But the more we contemplate death, the more we will work for peace. The more we contemplate death, we will fight fewer wars. This morning I'm remembering Sam Moffett, the father of Ken Moffett, who was a Presbyterian for most of his life, but in his last years attended this church with his son. And he was a lifelong committed to the philosophy of nonviolence, and his exemplar was Jesus of Nazareth. And during the Second Gulf War, he put a sign in his front yard that said, "No war in Iraq." And then some neighbor came up to him and suggested that he shouldn't have such a controversial sign in his yard. So he pulled up the sign, he took it to his garage, and he crossed out the words in Iraq and wrote the words "ever." And went back and put the sign in his front yard with a new message, "No war ever." This statement may seem hopelessly idealistic to many, but the more we contemplate death, the more we let the images of Israel and Gaza and Lewiston, Maine, and all the violent places of our world, the more we let the reality of death in, the more we want to beat our swords into plowshares and our spears into pruning hooks and study war no more. This time of year, we are invited to contemplate death, but not for morbid reasons, because contemplating death allows us to appreciate life. The French dramatist Guiraud wrote a play about how the gods envy human beings our mortality. The story is of Jupiter trying to court a human woman with mixed results because the divide between the gods and humans is so strong. The god Jupiter says to his friend Mercury, describing his failed efforts at conversation, he said, "And then suddenly she will use little expressions that widen the abyss between us. She will say, 'When I was a child,' or 'when I grow old,' or 'never in all my life.' This stabs me, Mercury. We gods miss something, the poignance of the transient, the intimation of mortality, the sweet sadness of grasping for something you cannot hold." In other words, the awareness of death can heighten our appreciation of life. Whenever I do a burial service up on the hill in our congregation's memorial garden, I like to share the words of the poet Mary Oliver, who says, "To live in this world, you have to be able to do three things: love what is mortal, hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes to let it go, to let it go." This week, I've made a point of walking up those stairs and sitting at the bench in our memorial garden, reading the names that are on the plaques there, just taking a time to contemplate mortality and the ephemeral nature of existence. One of the names on the wall up on the hill is the Reverend Mary Nelson, who was our minister of religious education from 1975 to 1988. She retired in this congregation. She was the RE leader before I was RE leader here, and then she was a minister here before I was a minister here, and we would ride together to conferences of the Southeastern UU Ministers Association at a retreat center called The Mountain, appropriately because it's on top of a mountain. We would drive on those windy roads to those retreat centers, and on one of those rides, she told me that after she died, she wanted some of her ashes scattered at the mountain. But here's the thing, she didn't want to obey the rules. She didn't want to follow the guidelines that were offered by the mountain because she found them too cumbersome and bureaucratic, and she didn't want to bother with it. She asked me if I would do it anyway, and I said I would be happy to help her in her last act of civil disobedience. And so I was traveling after she died. My next trip to the mountain was taking the youth group up for a conference there, and I took with me some of Mary Nelson's ashes with the plan to surreptitiously scatter her ashes, and I picked out the right spot. It needed to be where not many people would be, and I figured I'd do it at night, but it's Meditation Rock, which has this beautiful view of the mountains, wave upon wave of mountains, like a sea of mountains going off into the horizon. But I went there late at night because I didn't want anybody to see what I was doing. But when I got out there, there was a group of young people, and one of them had a guitar, and they were singing a song. And the song is called "Aeroplane Over the Sea" by Neutral Milk Hotel. And it contains this line: "And one day we will die, and our ashes will fly from the aeroplane over the sea." Literally, a song about scattering ashes. Once the youth finished singing that song, they started singing another one by Leonard Cohen. And if you know it, you can sing it with me. Alleluia, 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 alleluia. And then the kids went off to their cabins, leaving me alone in a moment of silence. And there beneath the stars, in that sea of mountains, I scattered Mary Nelson's ashes. And I think it's so appropriate that someone who did so much to help our youth had a memorial service led by our youth, even if they didn't know what they were doing. Even if they didn't know what they were doing. In the Gospels, Jesus is quoted as saying, "Let the dead bury the dead," a statement that seems to minimize the importance the role of the living play in the burial of the dead. And this statement by Jesus stands in contrast to his own Jewish heritage, where burying the dead is considered the last mitzvah, the last good deed we can do for someone, the last way we can honor a person, the last way we can be obedient to the commandment to love our neighbor as ourselves. Now, I am the youngest of 5 children, and I discovered this last mitzvah also unintentionally, like the youth at the mountain. We discovered it as a family after my brother died. My brother Bill struggled with alcohol and drug addiction in his teenage years, but he also had a lifelong kind of struggle with anger management and impulse control. And one of my most vivid memories of him was he was in the garage and he was making a model airplane. And he'd worked hours and hours on building that model airplane. But for some reason, he was toward the end and it wasn't turning out exactly how he wanted it to look like. And he got angry and he threw the model down on the ground and it shattered into a million pieces. And I remember the look in his eye, and I could tell that he was horrified by his own action. That something inside of him had shattered into as many pieces as that airplane. He was mortified by his own lack of impulse control. He died at 18 years of age in a car accident 1 block from the house. He'd had too much to drink, but he probably fell asleep at the wheel and his car ran into a tree, an act that shattered our family in more ways than I can ever name. As the poem goes, all the king's horses and all the king's men could not put things back together again. But at the gravesite, each member of our family was invited to put a shovel full of earth into his grave. But for some reason, we couldn't stop. We couldn't stop after one, and we kept passing around the shovel. So Mom and Dad and the 4 remaining siblings just kept going until we filled that hole in the ground completely. And I do not remember anything that was said in that memorial service or anything that was said at the burial, but I do remember the tangible feeling of that shovel in my hand, where somehow, without planning or premeditation, we had fulfilled the last mitzvah. That was over 40 years ago. But the tradition continues whenever we do a burial in our memorial garden. Each member of the family and friends is invited to put a shovel full of earth into the grave. And if you want to keep going and complete the task, no one is going to stop you. I do not believe that it is the role of the dead to bury the dead, but I believe it is the sacred responsibility of the living, our last act of kindness and compassion for each other. Whenever I lead a burial, I like to share these words from the poet Dorothy Monroe, words that the god Jupiter and the god Neptune might identify with. Death is not too high a price to pay for having lived. Mountains never die, nor do the seas or rocks or endless skies. Through countless centuries of time, they stay eternal, deathless, yet they never live. If choice were there, I would not hesitate to choose mortality. Whatever fate demanded in return for life, I'd give, for never to have seen the fertile plains, nor heard the winds, nor felt the warm sun on sands beneath a salty sea, nor touched the hands of those I love. Without these, all the gains of timelessness would not be worth a day of living and loving, come what may. Even the gods can appreciate that poem about the poignancy of the transient, the ecstasy of the ephemeral, the joy of being human. All too often, we are too busy to contemplate death, but as the poet reminds us, if we do not stop for death, death will kindly stop for us. For none of us gets through this life without loving what is mortal, holding it against our bones, knowing our own life depends on it, and when the time comes to let it go, to let it go. Or as another poet, William Blake, put it, joy and woe are woven fine, a clothing for the soul divine. Under every grief and pine runs a joy with silken twine. For I believe when the living bury the dead, there is a measure of joy. The joy of doing the right thing by someone. The joy of doing one last act of love and kindness and compassion. The joy of fulfilling one last mitzvah. So be it. I invite you to join together, rise and body your spirit for hymn 101 in the gray hymnal, Abide With Me.
I invite you to turn in the gray hymnal to responsive reading 721. And at the end of this reading, there is a time for us to name aloud those who we remember this morning. So I just want us to call to mind those who may have a photo here on the altar, those who may have come to mind during the service, or those who we carry with us on our daily lives. This is 721. In the struggles we choose for ourselves, in the ways we move forward in our lives and bring our world forward with us, it is right to remember the names of those who gave us strength in this choice of living. It is right to name the power of our lives well lived. We share a history with those lives. We belong to the same motion. They too were strengthened by what had gone before. They too were drawn on by the vision of what might come to be. Those who lived before us, who struggled for justice and suffered injustice before us, have not melted into dust and have not disappeared. They are with us still. The lives they lived hold us steady. Their words remind us and call us back to ourselves. Their courage and love evoke our own. We, the living, carry them with us. We are their voices, their hands, and their hearts. We take them with us, and with them choose the deeper path of living. Let us name those now who lend strength in our lives.
Urban Williams, James Childs.
We'll now sing the Litany of Remembrance. And as we sing each name, repeat after the name, "You are not forgotten." And between each group of names, we will sing, "All beloved, sacred souls be with us. All beloved, sacred souls be with us. Debbie Onquist, Chris Brown, you are not forgotten. Terry Combs, Bobby DeRider, you are not forgotten. Alan B. DeSette, you are not forgotten. Cameron Dougal, you are not forgotten. Leroy and Ruth Graff, you are not forgotten. Lorraine Hart, you are not forgotten. All beloved, sacred souls be with us. Kim Hayes, you are not forgotten. Richard Henry, you are not forgotten. Victor Hobden, you are not forgotten. Liz and Dave Hopkins, you are not forgotten. Ray Holton, you are not forgotten. Nancy Holt, you are not forgotten. Tom and I, you are not forgotten. Francis Joel, you are not forgotten. All beloved, sacred souls be with us. Larry Kitchen, you are not forgotten. Linda Krager, you are not forgotten.
Bob and Peggy Rainey.
You are not forgotten.
Betty Shilling.
You are not forgotten.
And Chuck Shilling.
You are not forgotten.
Wade and Becky too.
You are not forgotten.
Christopher Touchton.
You are not forgotten.
All beloved sacred souls be with us. Bob Webb.
You are not forgotten.
Alondria Williams.
You are not forgotten.
Evan Williams.
You are not forgotten.
All those loved ones yet unnamed.
You are not forgotten.
All beloved sacred souls be with us.
They are not dead who live in our hearts, and those who they leave behind. And those whom they have blessed, they live life again, and shall live through the years eternal life and grow, each day more beautiful as time declares their good, forgets the rest, and proves their immortality. Prophetic Church, the world awaits your liberating ministry. Go forward in the power of love, proclaim the truth that makes us free. As our last act of worship, I invite you to turn and greet your neighbor, then come to our potluck.